The stars stretched endlessly above, distant lights twinkling over the barren landscape of Voron 5, a planet long abandoned by its original inhabitants. Human explorers had been sent to this world on a mission: recover artifacts of alien technology that could advance human science by decades. Among them was Ethan, a human archaeologist known for his courage and sharp mind. He had seen ruins before, but nothing like this. Towering spires of metal, half buried in sand, rose like the skeletons of giants. Strange glyphs glowed faintly along the walls, pulsing like they had a heartbeat. Ethan's team moved carefully. Every step echoed against the alien structures, a reminder that they were intruders in a place untouched for millennia. "Keep your eyes open," Ethan whispered to the crew. "We don't know what we'll find or what might still be guarding it." The group advanced to a large chamber at the center of the ruins. In the middle, suspended by strange energy fields, was a device unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Its surface shimmered with shifting colors, as if the light itself could not decide what it wanted to be. The artifact seemed alive, humming faintly, drawing them in with a quiet, insistent power. Suddenly a voice pierced the air. "Please, don't touch it!" Ethan froze. From the shadow stepped a young alien woman. Her skin was a mix of soft blue and silver, markings running along her arms like streams of liquid light. Her eyes were wide with fear. "It's dangerous." "I beg you, don't pull it," she said, her voice trembling. The crew tensed. "Who are you?" Ethan asked carefully. I am Liara," she replied, lowering her gaze. "I guard this core, my people. They will kill me if I fail. You don't understand what this is. Please leave it alone." Ethan studied her. She seemed fragile, yet there was a fierce determination in her stance. Her people had called her a dirty heritage because of her mixed lineage, something that made her an outcast among her own kind. Despite that, she stood firm, her hands trembling slightly but not wavering. "Ethan," said Mara, one of the human scientists, "we were sent to retrieve this artifact. We can't just leave it." "I know," Ethan replied quietly, looking at Liara. "But she seems serious. There's more to this than we understand." Liara's eyes darted nervously between the humans. "You don't know what it holds. It's not just power, it's alive. It chooses who can touch it. If you make the wrong move, it will consume everything." The warning hung in the air like smoke. Ethan stepped closer, intrigued. He could feel the energy pulsing through the air, vibrating against his chest. His blood ran colder with each beat of the artifact's quiet hum. It was as if it were calling to him, testing him. "Why me?" Ethan asked, almost to himself. "You are human," Liara said, her voice barely a whisper. "Only humans, and only you, can survive its choice. But even then, it will test you in ways you cannot imagine." Ethan's mind raced. His team looked to him, unsure whether to obey the alien or follow orders. They had prepared for strange and dangerous situations, but nothing like this. The room seemed to shrink as the artifact's energy filled the chamber. Strange lights reflected off the walls, casting shadows that looked almost like moving figures. Liara took a step forward. "I have watched it for years. No one else has survived its activation. I beg you, do not pull it from its place. You could die or worse. You could awaken something that will not stop." Ethan nodded slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on him. "I understand. But we can't just walk away either. Maybe there is a way to study it without destroying it. Or ourselves." He turned to the device, running his fingers just above its surface. The energy felt warm and alive, like it recognized his presence. His heartbeat quickened. He could sense that it was more than a machine. It held memories, knowledge, and possibly a will of its own. Liara's eyes filled with tears. "If you do this, you will see things you cannot forget. You will feel things you cannot control, and you might never be the same." Ethan hesitated. He felt the tension between duty and curiosity, between caution and discovery. He glanced at his team, each one tense, each one waiting for his command. Finally, he spoke. "We proceed carefully. We do not remove it, not yet. We study it first, observe its reactions." Liara let out a shaky breath. "Thank you," she whispered. But her eyes remained worried. She could sense the curiosity in humans. It was relentless, and she knew it could be dangerous. As the humans began setting up their equipment, Ethan noticed something unusual. The device responded to Liara's presence, glowing more brightly whenever she spoke or moved closer. It pulsed in rhythm with her breathing as if alive. Even standing near it, he could feel strange visions flickering through his mind. Flashes of alien cities, battles, and ancient ceremonies he could not understand. "What is it showing you?" Mara asked, noticing his distracted gaze. I don't know yet," Ethan admitted. "It's like it's trying to communicate. Or warn us." Suddenly the chamber shook. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling as a low hum grew into a deep vibration. The artifact pulsed violently, and Ethan felt a jolt of energy run through him. He stumbled back, heart pounding. Liara gasped, clutching her hands to her chest. "It's reacting," she cried. You triggered it by your presence. You have to stay calm or it will spiral out of control." Ethan steadied himself. The artifact's glow seemed to spread into the room, illuminating every wall, every glyph, every corner with a surreal light. Shadows danced across Liara's face, highlighting the fear and determination in her eyes. He could sense that the artifact was alive, aware, and testing him. "We need to figure out how to control it," Ethan said, his voice firm despite the fear crawling along his spine. "We can't let it destroy the chamber or the city outside." Liara nodded, though she still looked frightened. "It tests intentions. It senses motives. If it senses greed or malice, it will punish. But you must act quickly. You have little time before the energy spreads too far." Ethan swallowed hard. The room felt smaller now, tighter, as if the artifact itself was watching him. His hands hovered over it, careful not to touch, yet drawn by the strange energy. He felt the hum deep inside his chest, resonating with his own heartbeat. "Is there a way to calm it?" he asked. Liara shook her head. "No one knows fully. Only one who understands sacrifice, who understands responsibility, can guide it safely. And even then, the risk is immense." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They had trained for extreme situations, but this was unlike anything they had imagined. It was not just technology. They were dealing with something that seemed to have a mind, a memory, a will of its own. Ethan closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. He felt the pull of curiosity, the need to understand, and the weight of responsibility all at once. He could hear the faint whispers of the device, echoes of a civilization lost, voices calling for protection, for balance. And in that moment he realized the danger. Touching it could change everything, for him, for Liara, and for the humans. Liara stepped closer. "Please, I know you want to help. I know your curiosity burns, but if you make the wrong choice, there will be no coming back." Ethan opened his eyes and met her gaze. He saw fear, hope, and something else, trust. Against all odds, she had placed a fragile trust in him, a hope that a human could understand something her own people could not. He nodded. "We will do this together, carefully, step by step. I promise we won't let it harm anyone." Liara's shoulders relaxed slightly, though tension still remained. The artifact pulsed again, stronger this time, as if acknowledging their alliance. As the team set up their instruments, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that the artifact was watching him personally, assessing, measuring, waiting. And somewhere deep in his mind he felt a cold thrill run through his veins, a premonition that their next actions could change not just their lives, but the fate of worlds. The chamber was silent, save for the hum of the artifact and the soft breathing of the humans and Liara. Outside, the wind swept across the ruins, carrying the dust of forgotten civilizations. Inside, the air crackled with power, and Ethan felt the first true stirrings of a danger and a wonder he could never have imagined. And then, almost imperceptibly, a thought crossed his mind. What if curiosity is stronger than fear? He was about to find out. The chamber pulsed with a strange light, casting long, wavering shadows across the walls. Ethan's fingers hovered above the artifact, careful not to touch it, but the pull was irresistible. He could feel it calling to him, as if it knew him, as if it could see into his very mind. Liara's voice echoed in the quiet chamber, trembling but firm. "You feel it, don't you?" she whispered. "It's testing you. It's alive, Ethan. Please, stay back. Do not let it see greed in your heart." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling a cold sweat run down his neck. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to understand." Liara's eyes softened for a moment, then hardened again. "Understanding comes with a price. Do you know what it was made for? Do you know why my people hid it for centuries?" Before Ethan could answer, the artifact pulsed violently and the energy surged upward in arcs of light. The chamber trembled and the humans stumbled, clutching each other for balance. A high-pitched hum filled the air, vibrating through bones and teeth, and Ethan felt something strange happen. His mind began to merge with the artifact's energy. Images flashed across his vision, cities made of shining metal, people moving in patterns he couldn't comprehend, and flashes of battles so vast they seemed endless. Liara gasped. "No, it's showing you its memories. I warned you." Ethan stumbled back, covering his eyes. I didn't know it could do that." "It can do more than that," Liara said, her voice rising with urgency. "It can read your intentions, your fears, your desires. It can feel everything you feel. If it senses weakness, it will punish." Ethan's chest pounded as visions of alien worlds swirled in his mind. He saw entire cities collapsing in fire and light, strange creatures fleeing through tunnels and streets, and then, unexpectedly, images of Liara. Her life flashed before him, the way she had been treated as an outcast, the loneliness she carried, the battles she had fought just to survive. Every memory felt real, as if he were living it. Mara and the rest of the crew looked on in awe and fear. "Ethan, are you okay?" one called, but his voice sounded distant, almost muffled to him. I can see everything," Ethan whispered, his voice trembling. "It's showing me everything." Liara's hands shook as she stepped closer to him. "You must focus, Ethan. You cannot lose yourself. Remember why you are here. Remember who you are. The artifact will test you. It will push you to the edge. Only strength of mind and courage will survive." Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. The images were overwhelming, yet they were not entirely frightening. There was beauty, too. Cities that glimmered under alien suns, people working together in harmony, inventions that surpassed anything humans had ever seen. It was a glimpse of the heights civilizations could reach. Then came the danger. The artifact pulsed again, stronger this time, sending a shockwave of energy through the chamber. The lights flickered, and Ethan felt a sharp, cold pang run through his veins. His vision blurred, and he stumbled, almost collapsing. Liara grabbed his arm, steadying him. "You have to move. The energy is spreading. If it reaches the city outside, it could destroy everything." Ethan's heart raced. He looked toward the exit and saw the walls beginning to glow with a harsh white light. The hum had grown into a roar, echoing through the ruins and shaking loose small rocks from the ceiling. He realized that Liara had been telling the truth. The artifact was dangerous, far beyond anything he had imagined. "What do we do?" Mara shouted, trying to keep her voice steady over the rising roar. Ethan shook his head. "I don't know, but we have to contain it. Somehow." Liara pointed toward the center of the chamber. "The core. It must stay in its place. If it is removed, the energy will spiral out of control. But if we can stabilize it, if we can guide it, we might survive." Ethan nodded, though fear gnawed at his stomach. He could feel the energy connecting to him, as if the artifact had chosen him specifically. The sensation was both terrifying and exhilarating. He realized that this was no ordinary object. It was alive, aware, and judging him. "Step carefully," Liara warned. "Do not touch it unless absolutely necessary. Focus your mind. Show it your courage. It will respond." Ethan took another deep breath and moved toward the artifact, each step deliberate and careful. The energy pulsed stronger as he approached, the light reflecting in his eyes and making the chamber shimmer like a living rainbow. He could feel the artifact sensing his intent, measuring his heart. He reached out slowly, his hand hovering just above its surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a surge of energy shot up, and Ethan felt his body tremble. The visions returned, stronger this time, filling his mind with images of ancient battles, incredible technology, and the lives of countless beings he had never met. Liara's voice was sharp now. "Hold your ground. Control your fear. Do not let it overwhelm you." Ethan clenched his fists, forcing himself to stay calm. He focused on the present, on the room, on Liara and his crew. Slowly, the pulsing light responded to him. It dimmed slightly, its chaotic energy stabilizing as he breathed deeply and centered himself. For a few tense moments, there was silence. The artifact glowed faintly, its energy still powerful but no longer threatening to tear the chamber apart. Ethan felt a strange connection forming. He could sense the artifact's awareness, its memory, and in some way its desire to protect something. Liara exhaled, her relief evident. You are stronger than I imagined. Few humans could survive that. Most would have been consumed by its energy." Ethan shook his head, still trembling. I don't understand it fully, but I feel like it's showing me its purpose. It wasn't made to destroy but to guard, to protect knowledge, and it chooses who can touch it. The human crew exchanged amazed glances. Mara stepped forward, her voice filled with awe. Ethan, you did it. You survived its test and you connected with it. Liara looked at him with a mixture of fear and respect. Yes, you survived. But remember, the artifact is not done. This is only the beginning. You have seen part of its power, but the consequences of your actions are only starting to unfold. If the energy spreads beyond this chamber, it could consume not just this world, but others connected to it. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. He had faced many dangers in his life, but nothing like this. The artifact was alive, ancient, and far more powerful than he had ever imagined. And now, because of his curiosity, he was bound to it in ways he could not yet understand. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling and small rocks bounced across the floor. Ethan looked at Liara. What's happening now? The artifact is reacting to your presence, she said, her voice tense. It senses your connection to it, and it senses the outside world. If we do not act, the energy could escape, affecting the city below. We have to stabilize it fully, or everything will be lost. Ethan nodded, determination hardening in his chest. Then we do it. Together. Liara stepped closer, placing her hands near the base of the artifact, careful not to touch it directly. Follow my lead. Focus on the energy. Feel it, guide it, don't fight it. You must show it that your intentions are pure. Ethan closed his eyes and reached out with his mind, sensing the pulsing energy. He imagined a calm, steady force guiding the chaotic power rather than fighting it. Slowly, the artifact responded, its pulses becoming more rhythmic, more predictable. The room's violent vibrations began to ease. The humans watched in awe as the artifact's light dimmed to a soft glow. Ethan opened his eyes, feeling exhausted but victorious. He had survived the first test, and for the first time, he understood that humanity's strength was not just in skill or technology, but in courage, understanding, and the ability to make the right choice when faced with the unknown. Liara smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and admiration in her eyes. You did well, human. But remember, this is only the beginning. The artifact has many layers, many secrets, and not all of them are friendly. Ethan nodded, his mind still buzzing from the experience. I understand, and we'll face them. One step at a time. Outside the chamber, the wind howled across the ruins, carrying the dust of forgotten civilizations. Inside, the humans and Liara stood together, united by the knowledge that they had glimpsed something far greater than themselves, and that the path ahead would test their courage, intelligence, and humanity in ways they could never have imagined. For Ethan, the artifact had changed everything. He could feel its presence in his mind like a quiet, steady heartbeat, reminding him that curiosity had a cost, but that sometimes that cost could lead to extraordinary discovery. And deep down, he knew the next steps would be far more dangerous than anything they had faced so far. The chamber had quieted, but the air still crackled with residual energy. Ethan stood before the artifact, feeling a strange warmth pulsing through his veins. The first test had left him shaken yet strangely exhilarated. He now understood the artifact's power, but only a fraction of it. Liara watched him closely, her expression a mix of caution and hope. We stabilized it for now, she said, voice low but firm. But it will not remain calm for long. The core senses your connection to it, and it wants more. If we do not proceed carefully, we could awaken something beyond our control. Ethan nodded. I understand. We've survived the first challenge, but this is just the beginning. What do we need to do next? Liara hesitated. We must go deeper into the ruins. There is a central chamber where the artifact's energy is strongest. Only there can it be fully stabilized. But the path is dangerous. Traps, guardians. The old civilization left many protections, and we are not the only ones who seek it. Her words made Ethan's blood run cold. He had already felt the artifact's raw power. Imagining it unchecked filled him with dread. Yet his curiosity, the need to understand and protect, pushed him forward. He glanced at his crew, who were tense but willing to follow. Together, they moved cautiously through the winding corridors of the ancient ruins. The walls were etched with glowing symbols that seemed to shift as they passed. Strange shadows flickered at the edges of their vision, and faint hums echoed from deeper chambers. Ethan could feel the artifact's energy reacting, pulsing faster as if anticipating their approach. Liara led the way, moving with surprising agility despite the weight of the mission. "We must be careful," she whispered. "The Guardians are still active. They will attack anything they perceive as a threat." Before Ethan could respond, the floor beneath them shifted. Panels slid open, revealing mechanical sentinels that had been dormant for centuries. They were sleek alien constructs designed with sharp edges and glowing sensors. The machines moved silently at first, then advanced toward the humans with lethal precision. "Get down," Ethan shouted. The crew dove for cover as Liara raised her hands, muttering words in her language. A pulse of energy emanated from her palms, momentarily slowing the Sentinel's movements. Ethan felt the artifact's energy resonate with hers, amplifying her power. "This is incredible," Mara whispered, awe in her voice. "It's like they're connected." The artifact and her. Ethan didn't answer. He was too focused on the immediate danger. The Sentinels regrouped, advancing faster now. Ethan realized that simply avoiding them would not be enough. They had to disable or bypass the Guardians entirely if they wanted to reach the central chamber. Liara's eyes met his. "We will have to combine our strengths. Follow my lead." Together they moved as one. Liara channeled the artifact's energy in short bursts, creating barriers and pulses that disrupted the Sentinel's circuits. Ethan discovered that by focusing his mind on the core, he could guide the energy subtly, directing it without touching the artifact directly. It was exhausting work, but effective. Slowly, they cleared a path through the Guardians, their bond growing stronger with every step. Finally, they reached a massive chamber at the heart of the ruins. The artifact's glow intensified, filling the room with a brilliant, almost blinding light. The walls were covered with intricate carvings, depicting events from an ancient civilization, battles, celebrations, and rituals surrounding the artifact. Ethan could feel the energy radiating from it like the heartbeat of the entire planet. Liara's voice was urgent. "This is it. We are close. But be warned, this is the most dangerous part. The core reacts to intention, to courage, to fear. One wrong move and it could destroy us all." Ethan stepped forward, his hand hovering just above the artifact. He felt its presence like a living being, curious, probing, testing him. Images and sensations flooded his mind. Visions of civilizations rising and falling, lives being saved and lost, all connected to this powerful device. He knew the next choice was critical. The artifact could be guided to stabilize the planet, or it could spiral out of control if mishandled. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to focus on the calm determination that had carried him this far. "Ethan," Liara's voice broke through the visions. "Remember what I said. Show it your courage. Do not let fear control you." He nodded, closing his eyes and extending his mind toward the artifact. Slowly, cautiously, he reached out with his hands, letting the energy flow around him without fully touching it. The core seemed to recognize him, and for a brief moment the chamber fell completely silent. Then, without warning, the artifact pulsed violently. Light shot in all directions, and Ethan felt a sharp jolt surge through him, making him gasp. His blood ran cold as he realized the magnitude of the power he had unleashed. The visions in his mind intensified, overwhelming him with centuries of knowledge, history, and emotion. Liara grabbed his arm, her grip firm. "Hold on, don't let it take control!" Ethan forced himself to focus, directing the energy like a river flowing through his hands. The artifact responded, but its pulse was chaotic, wild, almost alive in a way that defied logic. Ethan could feel it testing him, pushing him to the edge. Sweat poured down his face as he struggled to maintain control. He saw flashes of what could happen if he failed. The city outside destroyed, lives lost, and the artifact's power spreading uncontrollably across the planet. His heart pounded, but he refused to give in to fear. Liara's voice cut through again, steadying him. "You are stronger than they thought. The artifact chose you for a reason. Trust yourself." Ethan took a deep breath, centering himself. He focused on the purpose, the responsibility, and the courage he had relied on before. Slowly, the chaotic pulses began to harmonize, the light dimming to a steady glow. The chamber shivered, then fell quiet once more. He opened his eyes, exhausted but relieved. The artifact's energy seemed calmer, more stable. It was still powerful, still alive, but it no longer threatened immediate destruction. Liara stepped forward, her face a mixture of awe and relief. "You did it," she whispered. "You controlled it. Few have ever come this far." Ethan shook his head, still feeling the aftershocks of the experience. "I couldn't have done it without you," he said. "We worked together." Liara nodded, but her expression darkened slightly. "Yes, but the core is not fully tamed. There is more to its power and more tests ahead. We have crossed the first line, but the true challenge is still to come. The artifact will continue to respond to you, and it will push you further than you can imagine." Ethan glanced at the glowing device, feeling a mix of awe and apprehension. He had seen its potential, glimpsed its power, and survived the first true trial. Yet he knew that this was only the beginning. The artifact had chosen him, but that choice came with responsibility and danger. The humans in the chamber looked to him, trusting his judgment, their fear mingling with hope. Ethan realized that the fate of not only their mission, but possibly the planet itself rested in his hands. He had survived the first test, but the next steps would demand even greater courage, intelligence, and humanity. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Liara whispered almost to herself, "You are different. Humans are different. Perhaps this is why it chose you. Perhaps this is why hope still exists." Ethan felt a strange warmth at her words. Despite the fear, the danger, and the unknown challenges ahead, he felt ready. He had faced the artifact's test and survived. He had connected with it in ways that no one else could. And now he would face whatever came next, together with Liara, together with his team, guided by courage, curiosity, and the strength of humanity. The chamber doors closed behind them, but the artifact's hum followed Ethan in his mind, a constant reminder of the responsibility he now carried. He knew the journey was far from over. The artifact's true power awaited, and he would need every ounce of strength, every bit of courage, and every lesson he had learned to face it. Outside the ruins, the wind swept across the alien landscape, carrying the whispers of civilizations long gone. Inside, Ethan and Liara walked forward, united by a shared purpose, ready to confront the challenges that awaited them. And in the quiet moments, Ethan could feel it, the artifact watching, testing, and preparing him for the trials yet to come. He had crossed the line, and there was no turning back. The glow from the artifact illuminated the chamber with a soft, almost calming light, yet the tension in the air was undeniable. Ethan felt the energy pulsing within him, a living rhythm that both frightened and awed him. He had survived the first trials, but he knew this was the moment that would define everything. The artifact was no longer just an object. They were connected, and now it demanded his full attention and courage. Liara stood close, her eyes fixed on him. "This is it," she said quietly. "We have reached the final stage. The artifact is alive, and it senses everything in this room. Fear, courage, greed. It sees it all. You must act carefully. One wrong step and everything will be lost." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on him. He took a deep breath and centered himself, recalling every lesson he had learned from the first test, every moment he had faced the artifact's power. He felt its energy in his veins, a strange warmth that seemed to whisper that it trusted him. But that trust could vanish in an instant. The chamber walls began to shift, ancient mechanisms groaning to life. Symbols glowed brighter, moving as if they were alive. Ethan could feel the artifact reacting, responding to his heartbeat, his focus, and his intent. He knew that this was not just about power. It was about responsibility, understanding, and the courage to do what was right. Liara placed her hands near the base of the artifact, careful not to touch it directly. "Guide it with your mind," she whispered. "Do not force it. Do not fear it. Show it your strength and your humanity." Ethan closed his eyes, focusing on the energy. He imagined it as a flowing river, chaotic and wild, and then slowly guiding it, calming it without trying to dominate it. He could feel the artifact responding, the pulses of energy slowing, becoming rhythmic, like a heartbeat syncing with his own. But suddenly the chamber shook violently. The walls rattled, and the artifact's glow intensified, throwing shadows across the room. Ethan felt a surge of energy that made his knees buckle. The artifact was testing him again, pushing him further than ever. He saw visions in his mind. Cities destroyed, lives lost, and waves of energy spreading uncontrollably across the planet. Fear clawed at him, but he forced it down, remembering Liara's words. "You can do this," Liara said firmly, gripping his arm. "Show it that you are worthy." Ethan opened his eyes and reached out, letting the energy flow around him without touching the core directly. He imagined harmony, balance, and protection. Slowly, the chaotic surges began to calm. The chamber dimmed to a soft, steady light, and Ethan felt a wave of relief wash over him. He had connected with the artifact fully, but it had not consumed him. It had responded to his courage, his focus, and his humanity. Liara stepped closer, her eyes wide with amazement. You did it, she whispered. Few humans could ever achieve this. You have not only survived, it has accepted you. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. The artifact's energy no longer threatened destruction. It now felt like an ally, a force of immense knowledge and protection. He realized that humanity's strength was not in machines or weapons, but in courage, empathy, and the ability to act with understanding in the face of unknown danger. Suddenly, the chamber doors groaned as they opened, and a group of alien authorities entered. Their armor gleamed under the artifact's light, and their expressions were stern, expecting to see chaos and destruction. They froze when they saw Ethan standing calmly before the glowing artifact, connected to it in a way no one else could. One of the leaders, a tall alien with silver markings along his face, stepped forward. What has happened here? He demanded. Liara spoke quickly, her voice steady. This human, he has connected with the artifact. He has not harmed it, and he has not allowed it to destroy the city. He has proven himself worthy of guiding it. The leader's eyes narrowed. A human? You mean, it responded to him? Ethan stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. Yes, I did not seek to dominate it or take it for myself. I guided it with respect, courage, and understanding. It responded because I chose to protect, not destroy. The leader's expression softened slightly, but suspicion lingered. If what you say is true, then perhaps humans are capable of more than we believed. Ethan nodded. We are? But the artifact is not just about power. It is about responsibility. It can help your people, my people. All of us, if it is used wisely. Liara smiled faintly, relief and pride shining in her eyes. You understand, Ethan, that is why it chose you. Not because of strength or skill, but because of your heart, your choices, and your courage. The alien leader studied Ethan carefully, then slowly nodded. Perhaps there is hope for our worlds to learn from each other. Perhaps humans are not just visitors, but partners. Ethan felt a sense of awe and humility. The artifact's power had been immense, but the true lesson was clear. Courage, understanding, and empathy could accomplish what raw strength alone could never achieve. He had faced something beyond comprehension and had emerged with wisdom, compassion, and the respect of those who had doubted him. Liara placed a hand gently on his shoulder. You have changed more than just this chamber, Ethan. You have changed the future. The human crew looked around in wonder. The artifact glowed softly, its energy stable, almost serene. The city outside remained untouched, its inhabitants unaware of how close they had come to disaster. Ethan realized that the artifact's power was immense, yes, but it was not the power of destruction that mattered. It was the power to inspire, to protect, and to bridge worlds that was truly remarkable. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Ethan looked back at the artifact one last time. He felt a bond with it, a connection that could not be broken. It had tested him, challenged him, and revealed the best of humanity in the process. Liara followed him, her expression filled with quiet admiration. Your people? They are different from ours, she said softly. You see the value of life, the importance of choice. That is why it responded to you. That is why you survived. Ethan smiled faintly, exhausted but proud. We all have potential, he said, to learn, to protect, and to make the right choices. Sometimes it just takes the right challenge to bring it out. The alien leaders watched in silence, and for the first time, Ethan sensed a change in their perception of humans. They had always underestimated them, assumed that technology alone defined their worth. But now they had seen courage, empathy, and intelligence in action, qualities that transcended species, that could unite rather than divide. As they exited the chamber, the ruins seemed quieter, more peaceful. The wind whispered across the alien landscape, carrying dust from civilizations long gone. Ethan, Liara, and the crew walked together, the bond forged in the trials of the artifact stronger than any words could describe. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly across the sky, familiar yet filled with new possibilities. Ethan knew that their mission was complete in a way that went beyond recovery or study. They had faced the unknown, survived its test, and emerged with wisdom that could guide the future. Liara looked at him, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the artifact in the distance. "You have proven that humanity is not just strong in body or mind," she said. "It is strong in heart. That is why it chose you. That is why we survive." Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of quiet triumph. The artifact had challenged him, terrified him, and tested everything he believed in, but he had faced it with courage, with understanding, and with respect. And now the path ahead, though uncertain, was filled with hope. The humans and Liara left the ruins, stepping into the alien night. The artifact's glow faded behind them, stable and calm, a testament to what could be achieved when fear was met with courage, and power was guided by wisdom. Ethan knew that the lessons of this mission would stay with him forever. Humanity's edge was not just in technology or skill, it was in the choices they made, the compassion they showed, and the courage to face the unknown. The artifact had tested him, and he had proven that humans could rise to challenges that no one else could. And for the first time, he truly understood the power of connection, between worlds, between species, and between the heart and the unknown. As the wind carried the dust of ancient civilizations across Vorin 5, Ethan walked forward with Liara and his crew, ready to face whatever the universe would bring next. The artifact had chosen wisely, and humanity had proven itself worthy. For Ethan, for Liara, and for their worlds, the future was no longer uncertain. It was a promise of hope, courage, and the strength of humanity.